Please. My ex begged. His face a mess of tears. She's dying. You're the only surgeon who can save her. He pointed to his new wife. The woman from the videos he filmed behind my back. I just looked at them. Remembering. My schedule is very full. I said. But let's see. It started with a feeling. Like a low hum of anxiety that never quite went away. I felt like I was constantly auditioning for the role of his girlfriend. And always falling short. I'd try to plan a date night. Something simple. And had already have plans. Babe. It's the guy's soccer night. I can't miss it. Or I'd come home hoping for just an hour of connection. And he'd be rushing out the door for some errand that couldn't possibly wait. When I'd try to explain that, I felt lonely. That I missed him. The walls would go up. You're being too sensitive. He'd say. Not even looking up from his phone. You're doing too much. After a while. You start to believe it. Maybe I was too much. Maybe my need for basic emotional connection was a burden. His moods were like a light switch. 1 minute he'd be fine. The next, the energy in the room would be so cold and heavy I could barely breathe. If I asked, is everything okay? You seem off. He'd just stare at me blankly. I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. It was crazy, making. I was left second-guessing myself. My own perceptions. Constantly wondering what I'd done to cause the shift. Our intimacy suffered. Too. It felt distant. Performative. I now know it was his compulsive porn use, creating that chasm between us. But at the time, it just felt like another personal failing on my part. The real turning point. The moment my gut feeling turned into a blaring alarm. Was the fake job interview. He came to me one day. All excited. Talking about this huge opportunity with a logistics firm. He had an interview scheduled for Thursday. He laid it on thick, the suit he was going to wear. How he was prepping for it. I was so proud. So supportive. But something felt off. When I asked for the name of the company, he was vague. The address he gave me seemed weird for a corporate office. My brain was screaming at me that I was being a paranoid psycho. But I couldn't shake the feeling. On Thursday, I typed the address into my GPS. It led me to a run-down strip mall about 20 minutes away. I pulled into the parking lot and just sat there. Staring. There was a laundromat. A vape shop. And a pizza place. No corporate office. Not even a single door that looked like it led to a professional business. I felt my stomach drop. My first thought wasn't even anger. It was just confusion. Why would anyone lie about this? When he got home that night, I didn't scream. I just waited for him to finish his story about how great the interview went. Then, I calmly said, I drove by the address you gave me. There's no office there. The blood drained from his face. He tried to stumble through another lie. But he knew he was caught. Finally, he broke. I just wanted to go out to dinner with friends. He said, looking at the floor. I didn't want you to feel unimportant by canceling on you. I just stared at him. The lie was so elaborate. So unnecessary. That's when I realized it wasn't about protecting my feelings. It was about what was easiest for him. He would rather build an entire fake reality than have one difficult, honest conversation. That was the first time I understood I wasn't just dealing with a bad boyfriend. I was dealing with a profound liar. Am I crazy for thinking this was a massive red flag? Or am I, like he always said, just doing too much? The fake interview lie hung in the air between us for weeks. Things felt different. That low hum of anxiety I always felt had sharpened into a constant, piercing siren in my head. I didn't trust a word he said. A few weeks later, he was in the shower. And his phone lit up on the nightstand. He yelled for me to reply to a text from his buddy about soccer practice. I picked up the phone. Unlocked it with a passcode he thought I didn't know. And typed out a quick "Yeah, man. I'll be there." As I closed the message app, my thumb swiped by accident, opening his photo gallery. And there it was. It was just a thumbnail. But my brain processed it before I could even understand. The angle was weird. Low down. From the side of our bed. Pointing up. I saw the familiar pattern of our duvet. I saw my own leg. My first thought wasn't anger, but a dizzying confusion. What is that? I whispered to myself. My fingers felt like they belonged to someone else as I tapped on the video. It was only 3 seconds long. A test shot maybe. But it was enough. The sound of the TV in our room. My faint laughter. The unmistakable sight of us being intimate. All filmed from a hidden phone. He had propped his phone up and secretly recorded us. The world went silent except for the rushing in my ears. I walked into the bathroom. The phone held out in front of me like evidence. The sound of the water stopped. He opened the curtain. Steam billowing out. A confused look on his face. "What is this?" I asked. My voice was eerily calm. He looked at the phone. Then back at me. "What are you talking about? Why were you going through my phone?" He snapped. Instantly on the offensive. The classic deflection. He was making me the villain. "Don't change the subject," I said, my voice starting to tremble. "You recorded us. Without my consent." He actually laughed. A short, sharp, disbelieving sound. "You're being insane. I can't believe you'd even accuse me of something like that. You're twisting things. You're seeing something that isn't there." For a split second, his confidence was so absolute that I almost believed him. I almost thought I was losing my mind. But I had seen it. I had the proof in my shaking hand. The gaslighting was so intense, so immediate, that my brain just broke. I started sobbing. Not quiet tears, but those ugly, soul-wrenching sobs. "Just tell me the truth," I screamed through the tears. I saw it. He stared at me, his whole demeanor changing when he realized I wasn't going to back down. The fight went out of him. "Fine," he said, his voice flat. "I did. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. The violation. The betrayal. Not a big deal." His admission didn't bring relief. It opened a door to a much darker room in my mind. If he could lie about this with such ease, what else was there? A few nights later, fueled by a sick, desperate need to know the truth, I had his phone while he was asleep. I wasn't just looking through photos anymore. I was searching. On a back page of his home screen, I found it. An app that looked like a simple calculator. I'd read about these vault apps. Hidden folders disguised as something boring. My heart was pounding in my chest as I typed in the passcode. It wasn't our anniversary or his birthday. It was the number on his old soccer jersey. The calculator interface dissolved, revealing a black screen with a keypad. It was open. He admitted to the recording, but only after trying to make me feel completely insane. Now I've found the secret vault, and I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff. I know opening it could destroy what's left of me, but not knowing feels just as bad. What do I do? Do I have to see what's inside to be justified in leaving? Or should I just walk away now and save myself from whatever hell is waiting in that folder? I opened the vault. My heart was hammering against my ribs, but my hands were steady. A grid of video thumbnails loaded onto the screen, and the air left my lungs in a single, silent gasp. It wasn't just more videos of us. It was videos of him with other women. My brain tried to reject what I was seeing, to find some other explanation. But there was no other explanation. I clicked on one. The quality was terrible, shot on a phone in a dimly lit room. But it was him. And it wasn't just him and another woman, there was a man in the corner of the frame, holding the phone, filming them. I saw the wedding band on the woman's hand. I clicked another video. Different woman. Same sickening scenario. Married women. With their husbands filming. I felt nothing. It was like my emotional circuit breaker had tripped. All the anxiety, the pain, the confusion, it was all gone. Replaced by a cold, hard clarity. I wasn't a sensitive girlfriend. I was a victim of a serial cheater and a sociopathic liar. I got out of bed, walked into the living room where had fallen asleep on the couch, and turned on the light. He squinted up at me, annoyed. "What's wrong?" he mumbled. I threw his phone onto his chest. "Explain the videos in the vault," I said. My voice was dead calm. He fumbled with the phone, his eyes widening as he saw the open app. For the first time, I saw real panic in his eyes. He started stammering. But then the liar took over. "The professional. Those are old," he said, his voice gaining a desperate confidence. "The dates are wrong because the videos were edited. It's a glitch." He actually said that. He looked me dead in the eye and told me that the timestamps on multiple videos of him cheating were all wrong due to an editing glitch. And that's when another piece slotted into place with sickening precision. The girl. The childhood friend he had a snap streak with since before we met. The one whose Finsta he followed. He always said it was normal. Innocent. But now. It wasn't. I remembered him obsessively deleting and re-downloading Snapchat to hide their conversations. I remembered him having a sleepover with her when he told me he was staying at a friend's house because it was too late to drive home. I confronted him about her right then and there. And his face crumbled. He finally admitted it. They weren't just childhood friends. They'd had sex before we ever met. And he had been talking to her. Hiding it. Our entire relationship. Get your things. I said. Get out of my house. It was that simple. There was no more fight to be had. You can't fight with a ghost. And the man I thought I loved had never actually existed. The craziest part. About a week after I kicked him out. He texted me. An admission. He said he did. In fact, sleep with those married women while we were together. He didn't apologize for the act itself. Just for getting caught. I think. It was like now that the game was over. He didn't have the energy to lie anymore. Getting that text was grim. But it was the final validation I needed. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't doing too much. My gut had been right all along. It had been screaming the truth at me. And I had finally listened. So now I'm here. Picking up the pieces of a life that was built on an intricate, horrifying web of lies. My question for you all is, after you escape something like this, how do you even begin to trust your own judgment again? How do you learn to trust anyone else?